I'm very happy to be here to launch the third Government Industry Think Tank because overall it combines two things that I'm passionate about. The first is technology, and a crucial part of our government's platform when we were elected to government was to make New South Wales #1 again. And in order to do that, it rests on us as a government using technology well. We need to harness the untapped power of social, mobile and big data trends to deliver quality services to the people of New South Wales. And the second thing that I can say I'm passionate about, particularly as a Liberal, is working collaboratively with industry. I'm a firm believer that government is at its best when it is working very closely with and is informed by the best minds of the private sector. So it's great to be here with you today. And there are three key points that I hope that you'll take away from this address and will consider as the day progresses. The first is how quickly things are changing when it comes to the digital revolution, and why it is imperative that governments embrace the need for change. It would not be an understatement to say that the digital revolution is changing the world. Almost every single facet of our lives is being touched and transformed by technology. And I'm sure that every single person in this room has a smartphone and using that for emails, social media, many of you using that whilst I'm speaking, which is a good thing. And we even see now in Parliament during question time, most members are sitting in their places on the phone rather than listening, which is probably a good thing too. Look, as someone who's relatively young myself, I can assure you that the pace of change in technology surprises me. I could not imagine just 10 years ago sitting at a bus stop, being on my smartphone and interacting with my parents who live in the States. My children are able to interact with their grandparents, and it's brought the world a lot closer together. And that's a fascinating thing and a brilliant thing for our society. Being able to pay a bill without leaving the desk, phone tracking our steps, and telling you when to exercise. I think these are very good things that are certainly helping us in the busy world that we live in. But it's become very clear to me, particularly in the time in government, that when people expect these kinds of services and these experiences from the private sector, they increasingly demand it and will continue to demand it from government itself. And why shouldn't they? Ultimately, as servants of the taxpayer, we want to ensure that we provide the best service we can to all citizens to assist them interact with us. So it's my belief that governments should be dynamic, responsive and adaptable when it comes to technology. We should be at the forefront of embracing the digital revolution as a transformative opportunity for more efficient, effective and convenient services. Specifically, I would like to see the government agencies step up more when it comes to the take-up of cloud technologies. I'd like to see government services be online and accessible at all times. We need 24/7 government, as bad as that sounds. And I would like to see agencies be proactive with their solutions, engage with the community and work collaboratively to adopt more innovative ways of working. And this brings me to my second point. If the digital revolution is accelerating and citizens are demanding more, how exactly should government respond? Well, as Deloitte has said in their recent report, data is the new currency and governments are one of the biggest producers of data. So the question isn't whether governments should get involved in the new data marketplace, but rather how they should take part. So data is the new black gold and government is both producing and consuming large amounts of it. In the past, that data would be locked away, stored in paper files somewhere in a forgotten warehouse. But like everything in the digital economy, the real power of data comes when it is shared openly and transparently. The government has placed a high priority on being open and accountable. The New South Wales Government's ICT strategy is built on a foundation of open data. We are committed to releasing more data sets to drive the provision of better services and the growth of the digital economy overall. But for me, what is most exciting is when individual citizens or private companies then take this data and make something amazing of it. In fact, some of you would have used Google Maps or the GPS to get here today, and you can do that, and we can all have governments in the United States to thank us for that, for the work they did in the 1980s, releasing their geographical data to the public, a decision that led to a multi-billion-dollar industry. Some examples closer to home, we've seen the apps, they established the Apps for New South Wales program. You might be aware there's an app called the Art of Science app. I wasn't aware of this, but it provides mobile access to an Australian Museum collection of flora and fauna paintings. It's available on Apple devices and lets you explore our natural history using digital technology. Importantly though, it has come about as a collaboration between industry developers and government, which has been nationally recognised for excellence. But let's get more specific about what kinds of data we can release. And as they say in real estate, it's location, location, location. Location based data sits at the very core of many of our most important data sets. It's vital in everything from deciding where to build a school or where the best place for grazing will be. Spatially enabling data lets government make smarter and more informed decisions about where to target service delivery. One example, which has been around for a little while, which some of you may know, is Street Bump in Boston, where citizens, as they drive around Boston, through their smartphones, are able to track how smooth their trip is, and that information is then uploaded and provided to the government, who are then able to then go out and fix potholes and the like across the city. So that is a fine example that has been used overseas. Closer to home again, we've seen the work that Gladys Berejiklian has done in New South Wales in shaking up transport in this state. The real-time GPS feeds for buses and trains has already been made available to select and willing developers, and the same data for ferries and trams should be available later this year. And the final example from our government perspective is the recently launched Seniors Card app. This app allows seniors to find discounts and specialised services wherever they are and wherever they want, which they can all do from their mobile device. These are just a few of the ways, ladies and gentlemen, that we are sharing location-based data and the potential that it has to change government and how we deliver services across this state. And this brings me to my last point today, which is simply that government needs industry to realise the promise of location-based data. We want to move beyond simply opening up government data. We think there is a significant opportunity in working with you, with industry, to make these benefits real. I certainly don't think, and as a small government person, that the government has all the answers. In fact, I think the true power of data is realised when it is shared and taps into the power of the crowd. And events like today are a great opportunity for us to listen and to learn, but we won't stop at that. We need to ensure that this translates into concrete action to drive innovation that is beneficial to government, to industry, and to our citizens. So today we want to hear your opinions and observations about how the government is tracking, what we are doing well, and what we can do better. The organisers, I understand, have made sure that there will be plenty of opportunities for you to get into the details, whether that's asking questions directly on our implementation plans. But I'd like you very much to tell us what we can do to continue to support innovation in this sector. What arises out of today will certainly come to our office and it will be very much considered. The work that you do today and continue to do will have very practical outcomes, I can assure you. And I think that is certainly been proven through the previous two think tanks, where in the 2012 and 2013 think tanks, it was identified the need for a strategy with clear actions to enhance the use of local-based data to improve service delivery and drive better government investment. As a result of these discussions, I'm pleased to announce the release, which many of you will have, of this new Government Location Intelligence Strategy, and they are available either on the tables around the room today. So I've asked you to take the time to read that, and should you have any feedback on that, please come and speak to our office and anybody here from the Office of Finance and Services. The strategy that is set out there gives a clear roadmap to the future enabled by location-based data and will unlock the enormous potential of government location-based data. The effective implementation of this strategy will require an ongoing partnership between government, business, community and spatial data sectors. And importantly, it has been developed with input from a range of stakeholders, including many of you who are here today. So let me finish by saying the digital revolution isn't coming, it is already here. And it is imperative that governments respond to take the initiative when it comes to technology. One way that we can do this is through the promise of location-based data. And more importantly, sharing that data and working collaboratively with industry. Today, you are part of a data revolution that is sweeping through and transforming nations and governments across the world. And today you have the extraordinary responsibility of taking that potential and translating it into opportunities. And today you have to come up with new ideas that will make a difference to the lives of people in our great state. I very much look forward to hearing of the great outcomes that will come out of today. And once again, I thank you very much for your invitation today.